Hello, Rob Papen here, and let me introduce you to Punch Bass Drum. Punch Bass Drum is a drum synthesizer, and for this it uses synthesizers to build this bass drum. But also we added a part for playing samples, which are regular bass drums, but also other stuff, which is great for making creative bass drum sounds. Let me first explain the user interface. We have inside Punch Bass Drum models. Model 1 is a bass drum synthesizer which has several parameters here. Below it we have Model 2. And Model 2 has a bit different setup, so it's in terms of features a bit different compared to Model 1. While the fun part of Punch Bass Drum is that you still combine them both. While below Model 2 we have the sample section, which is here. We added samples from regular bass drums to really strange, odd stuff, which is very nice for creative stuff building. So this, for instance, is a floor tom, and you could combine that with Model 2. Next to these two models, we also have a click or noise module, which is up here. Well, this one is for making clicks. Little clicks you can add to the sound. So it also has a noise part, but we tell more about it later on. Below the click we have the global synth attack. This one changes the attack of the bass drum. So here you can alter it very minimal how the attack will sound of, let's say, Model 1 and Model 2 combined. So we have Model 1, Model 2, sample and click noise as modules to construct your bass drum. Well, they come together here in the mixer. We have here a mixer with the volumes of Model 1, Model 2, sample and the click. And below it we have a button which sends these independent modules into the distortion. So we also can add distortion to the sound. So we have several distortion types. I picked here power. So when I change here the parameters, I can add distortion to it. Additional, we added also a filter which you can put behind this sound. And we have a free envelope, free LFO, a modulation matrix. And you also can play the sounds tuned for playing melodies with your bass drum sound. Well, let me explain more about how these models work. Well, we have Model 1, which is already good enough for making a bass drum. It has a start point and an end point, which means that this pitch of this oscillator starts on a very high pitch and goes down. Picture that like a real bass drum. If you hit the skin with the beater, it goes from a very high pitch to a low pitch. And this is how we simulate a bass drum. Of course, we have a decay parameter here and a curve. And the curve is how this envelope, how this decay works, if it's exponential or more linear. Well, the more you go to the right, the more exponential it'll get. And this is also a very nice sound tool. So in terms of making this sound, just tweak them around. So I could change, for instance, the start. I can change the decay. Now this pitch envelope is very... Well, this is what essentially happens to this bass drum. Only now it's a bit too slow. It sounds more like a squeak. So if I make this faster by changing the curve, it starts to get a bass drum. Well, this is how the pitch is controlled. Well, changing the end makes that it goes deeper. Or keeps on higher. So this controls the pitch with the curve, the decay. And here we have the amplifier, so the volume control. And there we have hold, which keeps the volume on a certain level for a certain time. And decay, and again this curve. Also here we can tweak a lot the sound. Another thing is that we have two types of envelopes. One which has more a lower sound and one which has this sound, which is very different. Well, next to that we have also other waveforms like a triangle or square. Of course, more logic is to use the sinus waveform. Model 2 has a different setup. Here we have bass on which the tone lands and the drop. And the drop means from how high the sound goes down. Well, we have a decay, but this decay is also combined with the volume. So if I make it shorter, also the volume decay is shorter. So unlike Model 1, which has an independent amp envelope, Model 2 combines it here with this part. And as you can see, it misses also the hold. The hold function is only part of Model 1. So Model 2 is different. Well, also here, curve, how the envelope works, exponential or linear. Well, this is the bass part of Model 2, and then we have an additional dropping, which is extra. So the amount makes that you can add an extra click to it. So it's more a double pitch envelope on this model. Well, tweak them around and you will notice that it's a very different in sound. So in Model 1, take this part as bass and add a bit of this amount to your taste. And as told, you can combine it, of course, with Model 1. Okay, Model 1 and Model 2 are interesting to be combined with the click noise. And the click noise is a very special feature inside Punch Bass Drum. Let me show you. I can show it also independent, so you only hear the click. Well, the color means that if I go fully to the left, I have a sinus tone. Hear that? Well, if I want to have a little click like a beater, I can build that one with using the click. So I put the color fully to the left, so I have a sinus waveform. And I have a drop. And you can see now I have a click. Well, I'm combine this, for instance, with Model 2. Without the click, with the click. So that's one option in the clicks, to have the color fully to 0%, which is a sinus waveform, to do this. But when I move this color up to 50%, I have white noise. And then the frequency turns into the filter frequency. And this is a bit more like the old Simmons bass drum type of sound. Hear that? You hear the noise now. Well, back to the click now. When I've turned it now fully to the right, so click color to 100%, I have pink noise. And pink noise is very dark. Make it longer. Oh well, this one is nice to have low rumble in your bass drum. And we added a very nice feature because we can use spread. And spread, if I start opening it, it goes left-right, and offset means that left-right channel are different. If you listen on the headphones, you can hear that the noise is pretty stereo. Well, now I have more a darker noise sound. Now I can combine that, of course, with Model 1 and make some room sound to it. So the click noise is a very creative part. Well, the next part in punch bass drum is samples. We have several samples on board, from regular bass drums to dry bass drums, or this one. Well, we added several features inside of it. You can tune it. You can put a filter envelope to it. Well, of course, first I need to select the filter. I pick the low-pass filter. Well, the filter envelope has its own attack, decay, hold, and decay. Well, we have a very strange feature here, which is called stereo swap, which means that you can start at the left side and go on the right side, and your bass drum goes left-right. Of course, for this sound, it's a bit odd, but we have other samples on board for making very creative new stuff. Pick, for instance, this one. Well, it's more weird percussion sound, or a snare, and combine that with the models. So the sample part here is very creative. You can reverse a sample, retrigger, offset, so change the start point of the sample. We have a volume envelope control with hold, decay. Well, let me pick one of the creative presets we made by combining the models with the samples. As you can see, many presets on board. Go here to punch bass drum. You see that we have several groups: dance, hip-hop style, tuned. I will tell more about it later on. But the verse is more creative part, which we combine several models together with the samples. Well, this one uses this one, which is a rain tube hit. Well, we can change it here. So it's a very creative drum synthesizer. And one of the cool things is also that we can use it tuned. So when I go to the other banks, hip hop and sub, I'll take the tuned ones. Yeah, we have several presets which can be played as melody. So you can still play a bit of melodies, which is very popular. Of course, we have the back panel of punch bass drum with several options to connect other gear to it, to trigger the envelopes or to use the CV in to control several parts of punch. I would say have fun with punch bass drum. Tweak around the parameters, put on the models, put them off. And we have, of course, many presets on board. I believe almost 1,000 presets are shipped now. So there's plenty to check out.